Mr. Robot is a series about a hacker named Elliot, whose character is supposedly schizophrenic and DID. He has trauma because of parental abuse, mostly by his father, who is referred to as Mr. Robot and is played by Christian Slater in the series. Elliot's father is dead, but Elliot still sees and communicates with him, so Mr. Robot is a demon. That's why you see him here behind Elliot in the mirror. Schizophrenia is demonic oppression, and I think the creators of this show must also know this, hence the mirror imagery. The show eventually reveals that Mr. Robot is actually an alternate personality within Elliot's mind, who encourages Elliot in his vigilante hacking endeavors. The show incorporates occult, Gnostic, and mystical themes. The relationship between Elliot and his alter, Mr. Robot, and a third alter is a trinity. The third alter takes on a messianic role to save the world by creating a hacking group called F Society to take down the world's largest corporation and eliminate global debt. Elliot's character is depicted as having genius and almost supernatural magic ability to bend reality to his will by coding and hacking. The series heavily incorporates the Gnostic concept that reality is an illusion, which is similar to the concept of the simulation theory, like The Matrix. The show was released in 2015. Now in 2026, we have no idea what is real anymore because the media inundates us with lies and deception. It definitely seems like now most people's reality is an illusion, which is created for the public purposefully by the media. So I think the entire show is a foreshadowing of this environment we find ourselves in now. The show also represents the Gnostic concept that the world is flawed and a false simulation created by a false god. For example, one of the characters in the show is White Rose. He is the Chinese Minister of Security, but his alternate personality is a transgender who heads up the Chinese hacking group called the Dark Army. The Dark Army also wears demon masks. White Rose is an agent trying to change the world. Also, along with his own reality, he acts as a demiurge figure, while the Dark Army represents a false light. The show also incorporates other forms of predictive programming, foreshadowing the power of data centers and data farming, civil unrest, the crown virus, etc. But I want to focus mainly on the fact that the show is actually about the demonic realm, and I think the creators are well aware of how all that works, and I want to explain why I think that. Season 1, Episode 4 is literally titled Daemons, Daemons. In an internal monologue in the episode, Elliot explains that daemons are background computer processes that run without user interactions, always active, monitoring, and logging. Elliot equates these daemon processes to the demons that drive human behavior. He says demons constantly drive, monitor, and control actions operating independently of a human consciousness. He notes that these background forces, like the demons in our heads, can be self-destructive, yet they are an inescapable part of the operating system. So that is a very obvious admission that demons are driving Elliot. I don't believe this is a metaphor because of other clues in the show, specifically the location of F Society's operation. The location of F Society's operation and the history of that location indicates that the creators of the series understand how the demonic works. F Society is located at the abandoned Fun Society Arcade on the Coney Island Boardwalk in Brooklyn, New York. It's where the group led by Elliot and Mr. Robot plans and executes the 5-9 hack to destabilize the global economy. In the series, it's revealed that the location has a dark history of violence and death dating back to 1924. But the history of Coney Island itself in real life is dark, and that history goes back even further. In the series, the Fun Society Arcade location has a dark, supposedly fictional backstory where anyone who owns this place ends up dying, indicating that the place is cursed. I will play the scene now from Season 2. In this scene, Romero is a criminal hacker and an ex-con, a member of F Society. He and Mobley end up being the F Society members who set up the arcade as the location for F Society's activities.
All right, man, explain this to me again. Why are you taking me to an arcade?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, but you don't listen. That's the problem with your generation. Too ADD to really take in this world.
All right, break it down for me.
To really get it, I gotta take you back to 1924. Husband and wife team, the Bedfords, open up a freak show / dwarf sanctuary on this land you're about to be at.
Dwarf sanctuary?
Yeah, they call it the Bedford Lilliputian. A whole miniature city scaled down for dwarf and midget inhabitants. I mean, they also had other freaks like lion-faced man, limbless woman, shit like that. But the dwarves were the big money maker. Suffice to say, the Bedfords were a big hit. Lines around the corner, the biggest attraction out here in Coney Island. Then one year, rumor has it, the husband wakes up one Christmas morning, grabs a large kitchen knife, slices his wife's throat open, stabs his little kids to death, then slits his own wrist. No motive was ever determined.
God.
Cut to the 1960s. A woman named Mary Megan Fisher decided to buy up the place, turn it into an old school arcade. Pinball machines, skee balls, the lights. Called it Games. Shit, bit on the nose if you ask me. Not to mention repetitive, but at least it had clarity. Mary Megan even installed a little bar so she could get drunk with her friends and shoot pool at night. And so she did, almost every night. Until one time in '86, she got so liquored up, she accidentally fell off the bar stool and landed hard on the pool cue she was holding.
Oh.
Went right through her neck, clean. Killed her right on the spot.
What in the fuck are you telling me this for, man?
Place remained dormant until 2000, when Ned Beauchamp bought up the joint under the name Fun Society Amusement LLC. Ned wanted to reopen it as a classic arcade. Now, why anyone would want to start an arcade in 2000 beats me, but Ned Beauchamp had in his mind that that's what he wanted to do, so he did. About a year ago, his oldest son, Harold, wanted to sell it, but Ned wasn't down with that. So the oldest son, Harold, being simple-minded, needing money for whatever simple-minded folks need money for, decided Dad had to go. So Harold stole his twin brother's hunting rifle and shot Dad in the face. Now, what Harold wasn't counting on, considering he had never fired a weapon before, was the kickback. It kicked back so hard he tripped and fell out of his dad's 20-story window. By the time he hit the ground, his head opened up like one of those Gallagher watermelons. All this commotion stirred awake his twin brother, Clyde, who, as he told it to me, was in his bedroom catching some Z's when all this went down. By the time he got his bearings, he was immediately arrested for the double homicide of his brother and father, being the weapon was in his name.
How do you know Clyde?
He was my cellmate. This place made him crazy. He thinks it's cursed.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Before I left the clink, he gave me the keys to the joint and made me swear to burn it down before it caused any more ruckus. He swears it's haunted, believes it is the nexus of all evil in the universe.
You buy into any of this shit?
Fuck no, man. I'm too broke to be superstitious. In a way, all this hocus pocus keeps things clean for whatever it is you need to do. The public records are in limbo. People down in county don't even want to touch the place. I'm siphoning electricity from the grid. As far as anyone's concerned, it don't exist. Now, on the market, this joint would run you about $5,000 a month, but since it's you, I'll give it to your guy for half. Come on, Mobley, don't give me that look, man. You know how hard it is for an ex-con to get a job. Money's tight, especially with my mom's cataracts. The bills are adding up.
I'm not here to rent from me, Romero. I want you to work with us.
Oh, hell no, man. I just got out. I ain't trying to go back no time soon.
Just hear my guy out, okay? We need a freaker. You know you're the best in the game.
Don't try to sweet talk me, motherfucker. I don't need you to tell me who's the best in the game. I invented this shit, okay? Now, either you're renting I'm finding somebody else, but I cannot get mixed up in whatever it is you're doing.
Man, this is a chance to get back at the system that stole 6 years of your life. This is a game changer, man.
Who's this guy again?
He's a little weird, but he's gonna love this place. He's got a thing for Coney Island. You like him. Actually, you'll hate him, but he's a genius. Best coder I've ever met. And he wants to meet you.
How much? Oh, don't smile. I ain't said yes yet. Money's gonna be the deciding factor in all this, and it's gonna need to be a whole lot to bring me back in.
That's the thing, man. In a way, this pays everything.
Okay, so the story Romero told Mobley is that in 1924, a husband and wife team opened a freak show dwarf sanctuary called Bedford Lilliputian on the site where the arcade is currently located. As it turns out, there was actually a dwarf sanctuary on this site in real life at that time, which I will cover later. Continuing with the show plot, Romero says that the owner ended up murdering his family and killing himself on Christmas morning. Then, in the 1960s, a woman bought it and turned it into an arcade, but she also died in a bizarre way. Then the place remained dormant until 2000. A different man named Ned bought it and renamed it Fun Society Amusement. Ned's son Harold killed him, but the kickback from the rifle caused Harold to fall out of a 20-story window, and he died also. And then Harold's twin brother Clyde was arrested for murdering them, even though he was innocent, and he and Romero became cellmates. Clyde tells Romero in prison that the Fun Society arcade is cursed, and he makes Romero promise to burn it down when he gets out of prison. So Romero does get out of prison, but he doesn't burn it down. He takes over the Fun Society arcade, which is now abandoned, and Mobley talks him into joining their F Society group and use the location for their hacking activities. So Romero is killed off in this same episode. So that is confirmation that the place is actually cursed, which could explain Elliot's worsening condition with seeing his dead father, who's actually a demon, throughout the series. So in real life, that location on Coney Island, there actually was a Lilliputian attraction at Dreamland Park from 1904 to 1911. Lilliputian was a fully functional, half-scale village inhabited by approximately 300 dwarves who lived, worked, and performed there for the public as an attraction, like Munchkinland. The 300 dwarves were brought from around the world, having previously performed at various World's Fairs. That attraction was destroyed in a massive fire that consumed Dreamland Park in May of 1911. The name Lilliputian is derived from Gulliver's Travels, which is British pagan literature, like so many tales that involve demons, which I cover. In Gulliver's Travels, Gulliver is shipwrecked on the island of Lilliput, a land populated with 6-inch tall people, and everything on the island is proportionately designed for those people. It's a type of netherworld, like in Peter Pan, a liminal space. Gulliver's Travels is classified as Enlightenment literature. I've covered the Enlightenment movement before. It was promoted by secret societies, specifically the Freemasons. The author of Gulliver's Travels was Jonathan Swift. He was in the club. He was deeply involved in the Anglican Church and the clergy, which means he was a druid. And his first poem was literally titled Meditations on a Broomstick. So he was a witch. Swift's family had literary connections in the club. His grandmother, Elizabeth, was the niece of Sir Erasmus Dryden, grandfather of poet John Dryden. He was related to Sir Walter Raleigh, another pagan writer I've covered before. He was also related to Francis Godwin, author of The Man in the Moon, which influenced part of Swift's Gulliver's Travels. His uncle, Thomas Swift, married a daughter of a poet and playwright Sir William Davenant, who was rumored to be the godson of William Shakespeare. He was educated at Trinity College, and there is a crater on the moon of Mars named for him. So now about the history of Coney Island. Coney Island is a neighborhood and entertainment area in the southwestern section of New York City borough of Brooklyn, and this is what it looks like now. Everything in Mr. Robot takes place in either Brooklyn, Manhattan, or Coney Island. The main characters are all from Brooklyn, but Coney Island is specifically important to Elliot. So a little bit about this history. The area was originally part of the colonial town, which at that time was named Gravesend. Gravesend. Gravesend was settled by this lady, Lady Moody, and she was in the club. She was from London. She was the daughter of elites from Wiltshire in England, which is where Stonehenge and all the crop circles are located. Her grandfather was Sir William Dunch, the auditor of the Royal Mint. Lady Moody's husband was Sir Henry Moody, 1st Baronet. She became widowed when he died, and at age 54, she settled in Salem, Massachusetts. She was eventually deeded all the land in the Brooklyn and Coney Island area. Frederick Law Olmsted designed the major connector to Coney Island called Ocean Parkway between 1874 and 1876. The parkway was a green corridor for travel from Brooklyn to the beach, where it became a seaside resort. The fact that Olmsted was involved is very interesting because I've covered him before. He is in the club. He is a Druid. He's touted as the father of landscape architecture in the U.S. In addition to Coney Island, he also designed Central Park, along with many other parks in the U.S. He designed the landscapes of government areas, universities, world fairs, the Vanderbilt Mansion, and Druid Hills near Atlanta. Druid Hills is the neighborhood that he created with, quote, rolling hills similar to those where the Celtic Druids practiced religion, medicine, and magic in ancient Britain. Olmsted used this quote from Longfellow's Evangeline to refer to why he named it as such. This is the quote. This is the forest primeval, the murmuring pines and hemlocks, bearded with moss and in garments green, indistinct in the twilight, stand like druids of eld, with voices sad and prophetic, stand like harpers hoar, with beards that rest on their bosoms. Olmsted is yet another bloodliner whose ancestors arrived in the early 1600s from England to New England. The Olmsted family boasts politicians, poets, historians, astronomers, landowners, war generals, and scientists. So he follows the pattern of the British witches in the U.S. that I cover. By the end of the 1800s, Coney Island became a place to gather for common folk and was run by shady businessmen. The area hosted bathhouses, brothels, gambling, street performers, vaudeville, sideshows, baby incubators, etc. It was nicknamed Sodom by the Sea. It became known as America's Playground. By the early 1900s, those same shady businessmen started opening up several amusement parks to make money off the common folk. Those attractions reached a historical peak from around 1904 to the 1950s, but declined in popularity after World War II. Following years of neglect, several structures were torn down or burned down. You had Steeplechase. This is Steeplechase. Steeplechase was eventually purchased by Fred Trump, who claimed that he would develop it as a residential area, but that never happened. You have Luna Island Park, the thing that looks like the entrance to Astro World, Travis Scott. And there was also a ride named Astro World at Luna Island Park in Coney Island. You have Dreamland. Dreamland was the location of the Fun Society Arcade and F Society and Mr. Robot and the former Dwarf City. I'm sure they specifically scripted F Society's location in this spot where the former Dreamland Park was, because the name Dreamland implies a liminal space where demonic activity would occur, kind of like Oz or Anwin or Avalon. Dreamland Park also hosted a show titled The End of the World and another one titled Feast of Belshazzar and the Destruction of Babylon. What's crazy is that in the arcade, after F Society pulls off their 5-9 hack, The hackers host an end of the world party. There were several fires that started in a sketchy way, which destroyed different parks, including the most infamous fire, which was in Dreamland, and that fire started at Hellgate attraction in 1911, and this is it. They said that it started from an employee who was working with pitch, but most people don't buy that story because the park was having financial problems. Elites often set things on fire when they are ready to do something different with real estate. They think that it's their duty to change the world. Thanks for listening.